Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Derf and Dylan. On and off the field, it is Cinco de Mayo. Ay, ay, ay! What's going on, Derf?
Oh, not too much, Dylan. What's up with you?
Yeah, not too much. Just enjoying my Cinco de Mayo in quarantine, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Did you eat any
It-
tacos today?
no,
Oh,
no. At least not yet. Maybe after this,
yeah,
I'll go to Taco Bell or something. I don't know. It's undecided.
yeah.
It's just been it's the weirdest Cinco de Mayo on the planet, like in the
Mm-hmm.
history of forever. Apparently, you got Cinco de Mayo landing on Taco Tuesday
Yep.
while everyone's in quarantine from a virus named after a Mexican beer.
Yeah, that's one for the
That's the
ages.
scenario we're in. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with in 2020. That's where we are. What is it? May 5th, 2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Already
think
May.
actually next Tuesday is gonna be another big week because
Oh
next
yeah.
Tuesday is actually my birthday.
Yeah.
Gonna be recording on my birthday. That'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
Should have saved the NFC West for this coming week. Darn.
Oh man.
Oh well. Opportunity lost. Hey everybody, welcome to On and Off the Field. Let's get it out of the way here. Make sure you're following on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, for all the memes and the updates and anything that we got going on so you know what's happening. You can also head over to onandoffthefield.com. You can read the blog, listen to the podcast, watch the live show that's also on there. It's like a video. And then you can also go to rtfsportsnetwork.com and the Facebook page where you can go on there and listen to a bunch of great talents on the RTF Sports Network. And there's going to be members content moving forward. We're working out some stuff for like a Roku thing. So many things happening with
Oh yeah.
RTF. It's really amazing. It's getting off the ground. Lots of great talent. We're adding more talent every day. So go over there and subscribe so you always know what's going on with that. Oh, I left one out for our website, onoffthefield.com. If you go to the charity page, we are still doing our fundraiser, of course, our Feeding America fundraiser. No progress has been made since last week, but it is still there. Pretty sure it'll always be there. We will get to $1,000 if it takes us 5 years. We will do it. So since I know it's kind of hard to tell here in Western New York, it was warm for 2 days, and then now it's back to like 40 degrees or whatever. At least it hasn't snowed. Like they said it was supposed to snow. It hasn't snowed yet. But
Yeah.
they did, since it is this time of year, spring-ish, heading towards summer, Sam Adams has released some of my favorite beer. Like, I saw my favorite beer, like, ever.
Yeah.
I know I'm sometimes kind of like a snob about beer. I like my craft beer and my IPAs, and I have to go to a brewery to get my beer. Sometimes that's me. But Sam Adams, this time of year, oh, the Porch Rocker.
Oh yeah, that's a real good one.
Oh, it's
It's a real
so good. I don't know, man. Something about Porch Rocker just it makes me smile. It's like lemonade kind of like that, and then they also have their summer ale, which is also very good, but not as good as Porch Rocker. But both of them are still. Like Porch Rocker is the perfect name for it because when I drink it, I could literally just grab a 6-pack, get in the rocker on the front porch, and just sit there for like 3 hours.
There you go. Yeah.
That's how I roll. But we can't sit here and talk beer all night, I guess.
No.
Are you drinking beer? We can talk beer a little bit longer.
I am. I got some. I'm still on my Southern Tier variety pack, and tonight is actually live session. It's a session pale ale. It's pretty tasty.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like Southern. Everything Southern Tier is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm like, it's so weird because it's like near my hometown, but I never really drank a lot of their beer, but a lot of their ales are really good.
I want to go to the brewery there. So it's like the brewery is right there,
Right. Yeah.
right in the smack dab of like where my wife used to live, like where her parents live.
Yeah.
It's like a 5-minute drive, and I've never been there. It's like I feel like I've failed at life at that. It's just like just gotta drive up the road. It's come on, but well, maybe one of these days go back there and I'll figure it out. We'll plan a trip to Southern Tier. Maybe we can ask them to be our sponsors while we're there. Just like Genesee Beer, drink their beer. It's good. And Romig's, the best tavern in Rochester. There you go. Got that out of the way. They're not actually giving us money, but maybe if they just listen to this one time and they'll be like, oh, wow, look at these guys. They're cool. Yeah, that's... All right. Well, we're going to get the show started here with the other sports. I mean, there's literally nothing going on, though.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's tough. It's a tough economy out there for sports. Oh, yeah. I think really the big one. I think the NFL did a poll, and most fans of the NFL, I think it's maybe just sports in general. Fans are saying they would rather have sports come back sooner and just have no one in the stands.
Yeah.
And I would definitely agree with that personally, because just for me, even if we waited until, end of the year, this stuff gets pushed a while, we go through like a phase 2 of the virus, whatever the heck we have to deal with between then and now. If they bring back football or something, like football starts up with fans in the stands, I don't know if I'm going.
Yeah, it's tricky there because I'd rather have no fans either. There, I'd rather
just have everything start on time. Yeah, I want everything to be here. I want sports. Right. I know it's not fair to the athletes to be like, play my games for me, fools, while I sit at home and stay safe. Like gladiator stuff. Like, go and die in the ring for me. Yeah. That's what kind of feels like, but I guess that's up to the athletes too. I don't know if they get a say in it.
Right.
I don't know if they can cite the virus and be like, I don't want to play. Like, maybe they can do that. I'm not sure. It's weird scenario.
Oh yeah.
But it's just like a crappy year for it, because if there aren't fans for NFL games, we're going to miss out on the Seahawks-Bills game in Buffalo.
Right.
And that sucks.
That's going to suck a lot.
Yeah. Korean baseball is apparently in action.
Did you hear about that? It was like just yesterday, I think.
Yeah, I saw it based off from Barstool. Apparently, a bunch of people they were gambling on Korean baseball. Do you have more information on that?
So I'm looking at it right now, and apparently this Korean baseball league is going to be all over ESPN, because ESPN's running out of things to air on their networks. But it sounds like Korea, I think, didn't have any issues or anything with the coronavirus in the country, which allowed them to open, even though it was later than what they anticipated. But as far as I know, they're full in action. I think it's very limited fans in this stadium from the highlights that I saw this morning. Apparently, Korean baseball is also known for bat flips. That was something that was kind of discovered. We talked about this morning. But yeah, so I mean, we at least have some kind of baseball. I mean, it might not be here.
I'm gonna look into Korean bite. I'm gonna look into that. I'm curious. If it's literally the only sport going on right now, I'm gonna look into it.
So I do have also that the socially distant first pitch of the Korean Baseball League was done by a kid in one of those like Zord bubbles.
Oh jeez, what the heck?
I mean, they're all about this. They're all about social distancing. I mean, for a 9-year-old to be there, like there could be some issues with him, like some risk there. But yeah,
he did it in a bubble.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
how did that not make it on like social media? I did not see that anywhere.
I don't think I saw it anywhere either, but I know I saw it this morning, and then didn't realize that ESPN was like absorbing all the games on their networks to air. But yeah,
wow.
So we at least got some kind of sports. We can all learn Korean baseball, and
yeah, there you go. If you are seriously bored or need something to gamble on, Korean baseball.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your sport of 2020. That's all we got. Oh my Lord. I guess we talked about it 2 weeks ago. We didn't talk about it last week because we were busy last week. I think it was the week before. I brought up the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance, that's going on. Mm-hmm. I did watch episodes 5 and 6 yesterday. And let me tell you, have you watched any of them yet?
I have not sat down and watched any of them yet. I know I'm like falling farther and farther behind, but I will make time here eventually.
They'll be there forever. No rush.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. But like, really the only thing that I really appreciated, and I always thought Michael Jordan was the greatest of all time. I always think he probably will be. I didn't grow up watching him play. I kind of went based off of stats, highlight how he ran his team, the things that I heard and saw. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I base my opinion, and I haven't really seen anyone else do what he did, maybe except Kobe, who had a touching moment in episode 5 at the beginning. They had a Kobe clip, which was great. Nice. But episodes 5 and 6, what it did for me was they really started to push the gambling aspect of Michael Jordan's life. A lot of, betting tens of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars on golf, card hands that were like $1,000 hands, just crazy stuff, which I already knew about, but they really played on the aspect of how everyone looked at Michael Jordan like the greatest human being ever. Like he had no flaws. Michael Jordan is amazing. This is who you want your kids to grow up to be like. Right. They had their Gatorade commercial the slogan was be like Mike, or I want something like that. So everyone looked up to him, but as soon as, just like everything, just like the Golden State Warriors, just like the Patriots, just like anything, as soon as you start winning a lot, people try to tear you down. That's what we do to every dynasty ever in the history of sports. That's just how it is.
Right.
That's what we did to Obama. We don't want him to have a second term. Let's rip him down. No, just get political. Yeah. Obama made an appearance in this episode, so I just thought that's the first thing. I don't know why it came to my head. But they started focusing on his gambling aspect. And of course, for their second title they won, I think, or it was their second or third one when they played the Knicks. He went over to Atlantic City and he was out gambling until like 2:30 in the morning with his dad. Mm-hmm. He didn't break any rules. He made it back for the game, and everyone just started tearing him apart over his gambling aspects of his life. Mm-hmm. And when they interviewed Michael about it, he just kept saying the same thing over and over again. I don't care. You guys you put this slogan on me, be like Mike. Everyone says everyone should be like me. I didn't ask for that. Mm-hmm. I'm here to play basketball. I gamble because I enjoy it, which, might be a problem, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. Right. But he's good for it. He's good for it. I think he makes enough money, so I'm not going to, it's not like he's putting himself in debt, but he lives the way he wanted to live. And he didn't try and do these interviews and fake it. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I should have been different. I shouldn't have gambled. I know people look up to me. Because that's what people do today. Like, right. If someone gets caught doing something, like they slip a little bit, they're like, oh, I instantly got to go on Twitter and Instagram to apologize to my fans. Michael Jordan, This is who I am. I play basketball. I'm the best ever to play basketball. Yeah, sure, I gamble. You don't like it? You don't have to like me. Get out of here. Right. And I love it. I loved all of his interviews. I thought he did great, and I think he shoved it in the face of the media, and I thought it was just a really good 2 episodes that they did this week.
Nice.
And another documentary, not really a documentary, just the E60 that came out with Alex Smith. I did not watch that, unfortunately. I kind of want to, though. I have to find some way to be able to watch that Alex Smith E60, which I think was called Project 11. Is that what I said earlier?
I believe that's what you said earlier, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I read some notes on it.
Uh-huh.
But it was just crazy, though. The things he went through. He had 17 surgeries. It got dangerously infected. Man almost loses his leg. He had to get a million little like skin graft things done. I mean, you saw the pictures of his leg.
Yeah.
It absolutely disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And then based off what I read, I didn't see the E60. He says he hasn't shut the door on playing football again.
Sorry, Alex, but that's not the correct answer.
That's not the answer we're looking for. The answer is retire and never look back. Even if you think that leg is strong enough to go back and play, I mean, you haven't worked out this injury happened in 2018. You haven't worked out through a football in like 2 years.
Uh-huh.
You're not going back on the field.
Right.
Please don't. We don't want to see that. We don't need to see you get injured again. I'm sure your wife doesn't want to see you get injured again. Let's stop.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally the same injury Joe Theismann had. And, like, granted that there's, like, new medical technology now to, like, we're more advanced in order to fix this kind of injury. But the fact that, I don't know, I find it creepy that how many different things lined up to the exact same Joe Theismann injury.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why would you want to risk that? Like, Joe Theismann didn't come back. So
right, and it a little bit like you said, I mean, maybe the healing process is different, but there's just no way.
Yeah.
And there's no way. I'm sure he remembers the injury. He remembers how much pain he was in. He knows he went through 17 surgeries.
Yep.
Why would you ever want to try and risk that again?
Right.
And I actually pulled up both injuries between Theismann and Alex Smith were right tibia and fibula injuries. The date was November 18th, 1985 for Theismann. It was November 18th, 2018 for Alex Smith. Both on the Washington Redskins. Both Washington, D.C. Both happened on the 39-yard line. The final score of both games was 23-21. The injury was caused by 3-time Defensive Player of the Year Lawrence Taylor for Joe Theismann, and it was 3-time Defensive Player of the Year J.J. Watt for Alex Smith. And both starting left tackles who were Pro Bowlers were out of the game during both injuries. I mean, if you don't think that's the freakiest thing that you've ever heard in your life.
It's like the Redskins need to find a new area to work or change their name or start over. Like
burn that stadium to the ground.
Right? Something's not right there.
Yeah, you must have built that on like an ancient burial ground or something. Just
right.
Yeah, get out of there. Move. Who's the new kid? Save Dwayne Haskins' life. He's gonna break his leg too. Get out of there.
Oh.
But I guess that's kind of transitions into NFL news.
Yeah.
Moving on from other sports, and obviously we have to bring up the passing of Don Shula, the 2-time Super Bowl winning head coach of the Miami Dolphins, 4-time AP NFL Coach of the Year. He had the most regular season wins as a head coach at 328 ever. Most total wins as a head coach, 347. And the only undefeated season ever through the regular season and the playoffs. I think it was only, a 14-game schedule back then or something like that.
Yeah.
But still, undefeated season, the only team to do it.
Yeah. I mean, he's got some great stats there and everything he did. in the tenure he was as a coach. So, I mean, it's definitely a huge loss to the NFL world, and especially the Dolphins, who he was a coach for so long. And hopefully his regular season record kind of stands for a little longer, but we know someone else is right there, not too far behind him. But yeah, I mean, it's just another big name that we've seen now that they've lost their life to coronavirus, unfortunately. So yeah,
it's been a terrible year.
Yeah.
Just there's no denying that. And Don Shula is definitely got his head on the Mount Rushmore of NFL head coaches.
Oh yeah,
all time.
Definitely
has to be up there. I don't think you can ever make that Mount Rushmore without his head on it. That's for sure. You can debate some other ones, but
Right.
Don Shula will be up there first and foremost.
Yeah.
Another thing announced by the NFL, there's actually going to be no international games this year. So if there is a season, if it does happen, scheduled, as the only thing that won't stand is international games. There will be no London, no Mexico City, and I'm sure some teams are very thrilled about that because that's a lot of travel for teams.
Right.
Yeah. I know this is an initiative that is pushed by the NFL now. Mm-hmm. They're even thinking about trying to get games in China down the road.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's got to be taxing on some teams, especially like the Jaguars, who are always going to London.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing too, where the international games are always so hard on the schedule for the schedule makers because you had to give those teams a bye week after the international game just because of the distance they were traveling. Like, I couldn't imagine if they were ever get like a game in China, like if they'd have to have like a 17 game season because you would need an extra bye week almost right there for international teams just because of the amount of travel they would do.
Yeah, I'm sure schedule makers are having a blast trying to figure all that out. Oh, we're going to have international games, possibly China, and a 17-game schedule. Fun. Thanks, Goodell. Are you going to increase our pay now, too, as now we have to figure all that out? Right. They're just waiting for them to add an extra team into the mix as well. Let's figure that one out. Come on.
An odd number of teams, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Just throw it in there. We'll figure it out, Goodell. No worries. But speaking of schedules, the NFL will release the schedule Thursday at 8 p.m. I think some have leaked already. I don't know if that's true or not. I've seen some leaks, but you never know if those are true or not. But the official one will be 8 p.m. this Thursday during our live show. So we're going to be watching that while we do the second half of our live show, and hopefully we'll have some good tidbits to talk about.
Definitely.
Come that time. That'll be a fun show for everyone to join in on. So you can watch that on and Off the Field's Facebook page, RTF Sports Network's Facebook page, and the RTF Sports Network, where you can listen to on Spreaker or just on rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Yeah.
So we got some moves, actual players in the NFL now.
Yeah.
Shockingly enough, good thing I didn't put money on it because I was going to make a bet, but I didn't.
Right.
Andy Dalton actually went to the Cowboys.
What?
I mean, yeah. That was not expected.
Yeah, that was definitely something that everyone's like, "Oh no, he's going to the Patriots. He's going there for sure." And then no, there's the alert. Andy Dalton signs with the Cowboys. Oh, all right.
They weren't even the top 5.
Yeah.
Because the NFL came out with an article as like, yeah, Jets, Jags, Patriots, Dolphins, anyone that actually might need a quarterback. And then, yeah, I think I did see that the Steelers did make Dalton a better offer. He just wanted to go to the Cowboys for some reason. So the Steelers were another team that was in there for him.
Oh, nice.
Just, it's bizarre. And all this does is it just opens up a million questions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The leading question, of course, being, what's going on with the long-term plans for the Cowboys, and do they include Dak Prescott?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know at this point, because they still have some time to sign a long-term deal, because Dak did have his he was franchise tagged or transition tagged, whichever one it was.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys don't want to pay him that much money. They just don't want to pay him long-term money. And it's just working out perfectly for me, because I said Dak will sign his franchise tag this season. They will not make the playoffs. They will have a down year, and Dak will be released. And I think they will sign Andy Dalton once they release Dak to a cheap 2, maybe 3-year deal, and then go draft a quarterback in next year's draft.
Yeah.
And Dak won't be a Cowboy. That's
just like that.
That's what's going to happen. Calling it.
Yeah, I could see it.
I made that claim a while back. So now it just seems like it's coming together even better with Andy Dalton now. You never know. I don't think Andy Dalton's a bad quarterback. I never have.
Yeah.
I just think he's on a terrible team, terrible organization.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I feel bad for Joe Burrow having to take that spot as punching bag.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough one for Burrow, but yeah, that's what happens.
So to no one's surprise, other than Andy Dalton go to the Cowboys as being a big surprise, and to nobody's surprise, Mitch Trubisky had his 5th-year option declined by the Chicago Bears. He's going to play this year, and if he sucks, Nick Foles takes over and he's out the door next year. That's that's what's going to happen. It's
just like that.
And the Bears are looking like the biggest idiots on the block because of how they handled that 2017 draft. And this just goes to show you never know what's going to happen with any player. You can make your mock drafts. You can study college players for 1 billion years. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter, because just because they're taken in the top 5, you might think it's a great pick. You might think it's going to be the most amazing, life-changing, franchise-changing thing for a team. The 2017 draft class, picks 2 through 5, have had their 5th-year options declined. Mitchell Trubisky with the Bears, Solomon Thomas with the 49ers, Leonard Fournette with the Jaguars, which I think is kind of just like a special situation, and then Corey Davis with the Titans. All declined. The first pick was Myles Garrett, which is planned out, or panned out. It just goes to show it. It doesn't. You can think things will be amazing, but anything can happen in the NFL. Maybe it's the team that they go to. It doesn't pan out. Maybe it's the player. Maybe Mitchell Trubisky is good, and it's the Bears' fault. Solomon Thomas, everyone thought he was a good player, but if he can't figure it out on that 49ers front 7, maybe it's a him problem.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a crazy scenario that 4 of the top 5 picks from that draft have been declined for a 5th year. Insane.
That's pretty insane that to have that many concentrated in the top 5 be declined. I don't think I've seen it that many ever, as far as I can tell. But yeah, definitely. Some of these teams can scratch that 2017 draft class in that first round.
Yeah. So one player who has been around forever.
Yeah.
And he might have been bounced around. He was with the 49ers forever. He didn't have his 5th-year decline. Frank Gore is going to churn it out for another year with the New York Football Jets on a 1-year deal. Just to put it in perspective, Frank Gore, the 5-time Pro Bowler, he is 3rd on the all-time rushing list with 15,347 yards. 3rd in rushing attempts, which 3,548 attempts. 3rd in touches, 4,016. And 4th in yards from scrimmage, 19,243. This guy just doesn't want to quit.
No.
This is what he lives for, and he's going to do it again with his 5th team.
It's insane. I mean, good for him. I mean, good that he can still keep going. I mean, I know last year with the Bills, he didn't have a great it was a veteran stat line for a running back. You don't see a lot. Just kind of gives the young guys some rest. Grind out a couple yards for them every once in a while. But I mean, I'm really curious to see how this pans out with Le'Veon Bell, whether or not this will help him, or is Le'Veon Bell just completely done, like I thought?
I think they don't have a choice with Bell. They paid him.
Yeah.
And they need him to pan out. A lot of people are saying the Jets just need to give up on him. He's a dud. They paid him. They drafted and brought in a bunch of offensive linemen in free agency. Mm-hmm. They're building a team to get Le'Veon Bell going. Frank Gore, I don't know why they brought him in. Maybe he is there to help Bell, kind of get him a little bit level-headed. Who knows?
Right.
Frank Gore is good wherever he goes. Just a veteran presence.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's smart for the Jets. It is a younger team. Maybe he's there to help Sam Darnold. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
They have their reasoning, I'm sure.
Right.
Another veteran who is thinking about coming back into or staying in the league at least is Marshawn Lynch. There are reports that he is talking to the Seahawks, or his agent's talking to the Seahawks about coming back for another year. As a Seahawks fan, I don't hate it. Sure. If you can get Marshawn Lynch to come back for like $1 million, no more than that. Even if you want to, I don't know what a veteran minimum is. Just give him that.
Yeah.
Whatever you can give him, the least amount, if you can get him back for 1 year, sure. I love it. I love Lynch. I love everything about him. I love his presence. He's just a great dude. Sure. Bring him back. I don't care.
Take care of y'all chicken.
Yeah, take care of y'all chicken. And one guy who is trying to find a new team is Logan Ryan. He has officially announced he will not be a Tennessee Titan moving forward. So one team out there will get probably a top 5 corner in the league for this coming season.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to demand a lot of money, but he could definitely be a secondary leader. Well, a leader for the secondary is probably a better way to word it.
A leader in the secondary.
Yes, that's how we want to say that. That's much better. Not a secondary leader. He's playing second fiddle to someone. He sucks. I love Logan Ryan. If the Seahawks Seahawks have cap space. Yeah. If we could put Logan Ryan on the other side of Shaquille Griffin, ooh, boy,
nice.
I would like to see that. But that's kind of a pipe dream, I think.
Yeah.
But I think that's wrapping it up for NFL news. So we're going to get into our series, the AFC West. We're going to be doing our division breakdowns. We're getting back into it. We've already done the AFC East and the NFC West. So this week, we drew it out of a hat. We're doing the AFC West, which consists of the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chargers. Unfortunately, we didn't get any people to come on and talk about them with us, any fans or any podcasts, any people like that. We kind of posted a little late. I think it's our fault.
Yeah.
One guy's working late. Just didn't pan out. That's okay, because we can give you all the news and info that you need. We can do this.
Yeah.
I know we can.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only fair that we would start this segment by talking about the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, that just seems fair, right? I
mean, why not?
You don't want to start out with like the Raiders. That's kind of boring. No one wants that. You got to talk about the Chiefs first. The almighty and league dominating Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
So I think they had, just because we're closer to the draft and kind of start off with that. People said they kind of had a weaker draft.
Yeah.
I don't know. You never hear them up in the A, B range. I think they kind of float around the C, C minus range about how they drafted. But personally, for me, I loved their first round draft pick, the Clyde Edwards from LSU, the running back.
Yeah.
I feel he just fits into that scheme perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
He drew a lot of praise from his teammates. He's a small, fast little guy, and obviously that's how the Chiefs like their offense, just fast.
Yep.
And if they had to pay Damian Williams down the road or any other running back, they can kick him to the curb, and you just replaced him with a rookie with another 5-year deal, a nice cheap rookie deal, which is what they need.
Well, yeah, definitely. After with the way the salary is looking for them this year, they need all the cheap players they can get.
And outside of Clyde Edwards and Lucas Niang, their offensive tackle, they went defense, which is definitely what they needed.
Right, and I think that's good on them. I mean, maybe we'll have to see how the athletes pan out, but I think that's maybe why a lot of analysts graded them so low, is maybe there might have been maybe another player that was graded better than them at their pick when for that position. But I mean, hey, a team likes a certain player, they're going to take that player. They interact with that person, they're not going to always take the best available if they know that person's there if they want. So, I mean, I really like that the Chiefs went defense for 4 out of their 6 picks. Just because I felt like that's where they might have lacked a little bit last year, especially in that Houston playoff game, just being down so much right off the get-go. But obviously the offense is clicking and it's really high-powered, so they really didn't have to add much there. But, yeah, I mean, I think they're really kind of they're piecing it together, I think, on the low-end budget right now, which, I mean, it's what they got to do.
Yeah, I mean, for this upcoming season, they're going to be fine. Right. And maybe even the next year after that. I'm not sure how many years are left on how many people's deals. I'm not sure where they stand. Mm-hmm. But they obviously have cap space issues. At one point, they were like, they had $177 of cap space. Literally $177. I thought it was a mistype at first. I forgot who posted it. But they posted every team's cap space at one point, and I thought it was a mistake. Like, he forgot to add the zeros. No, $177 in cap space. But what are they going to do? Because they can't get rid of everyone on defense. They have to pay someone on defense so they don't get torched every single game.
Right.
But they have Mahomes. I don't know how much money they're going to pay him. Nobody knows. It's going to be asinine how much they're going to pay Mahomes. I don't even know. What's the number right? It'll probably be 40 a season. 40 million a season, probably.
Yeah, probably.
And unless somebody comes out in the next year or two that demands even more, but I doubt that'll happen. He'll probably make somewhere around 40. And then you have Travis Kelce. You have Tyreek Hill. You just have a bunch of people that are stud players. You need money for them. And the Chiefs don't have it. And if the Chiefs are happy with, let's get a Super Bowl this year and next year and then maybe year 3 and then blow it all up, we'll just pay Mahomes and then get rid of everyone else and see what happens.
Right.
Oh, I'm fine with that plan. But if they just win one Super Bowl, they can't clinch it the next year, and then they blow it up because they have no money, that would be sad to see.
Right, and I feel like that's what you saw with the Eagles.
Yeah.
I feel like that was, they kind of, like, when the team that won the Super Bowl, like, that team wasn't there together much that next season. So, I mean, we don't want to see this happen to the Chiefs. And like you said, you're talking about Mahomes, Kelce, and Hill. If they're going to pay him eventually, I could see them not paying Hill, but paying Mahomes and then Kelce. And then kind of working with draft picks and lower end veteran talent around them. I think Hill's replaceable, or that's just maybe my personal opinion, but I think that's the route that they could end up going.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You can replace speed.
Right.
Maybe not as much speed as Hill has, but
yeah.
they're definitely going to have to take a long, hard look at who they think their core players are, which is obviously Mahomes, probably Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, they're going to have to blow it up and build through the draft and low-end cheap players.
Yeah.
And it impacts the defense too, because they want Chris Jones to sign a stupid franchise tag, but he says, nope, I want a long-term deal. And, Chris Jones was literally the only person who did anything on defense in that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He was a dominant force on that line. And he was knocking down passes. He was hitting the quarterback. I think if that team didn't have Chris Jones, if they had just some whatever player and playing in Chris Jones' spot down the stretch of that Super Bowl, I think the 49ers might win.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And he might not play now.
Yeah, and I think that's I think that's the unfortunate part with this whole franchise tagging stuff with organizations. It's just, I feel like it puts a sour taste in a lot of players' mouth because they want that long-term deal. The organizations aren't willing to always give them that long-term deal without trying to renegotiate stuff or sign this tag this year, we'll get you next year. And I mean, I think you're starting to see a lot of the time now where players aren't, they're really not okay with these teams tagging them anymore. And I think you're going to have this now where players sit out and don't play because they don't have that long-term deal anymore.
Yeah, we've seen it before the past couple of years, and it's just going to, as the league becomes more player-friendly and player-driven, yeah, you're going to franchise tag me? That's cool. I'm not playing.
Right.
That's definitely what we've been seeing lately. So as we kind of head into the offseason, we're getting ready to gear up for the next season. In my opinion, the Chiefs have to be Super Bowl favorites. I don't care how good the Bucs are looking.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Ravens still have a couple pieces missing on offense at wide receiver. The Chiefs are still favorites, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I just don't think that as good as the AFC conference is, I still think you have to go through Kansas City.
Yeah, so. It's a young team, smart coach.
Right.
They have a lot of swagger. I feel like if there's only one team that's going to compete with them, it might be the Ravens. We'll see what happens in the second year with Lamar Jackson running over everybody.
Right. Yeah.
But I guess we'll wrap it up for the Chiefs. If you disagree with us, if you're a Chiefs fan, let us know when you listen to this. Send us an email or something on social media, and we'll be sure to read it and get back to you because we love fan interaction.
Yeah.
The Denver Broncos are up next.
All right.
The Denver Broncos are an interesting squad. I feel like they're that enigma team. Mm-hmm. They're kind of just out there. They've been hanging out. Not really figured it out. They have Von Miller. They had a good defense. It kind of disappeared last year. Von Miller didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. Bradley Chubb had an injury. Blah, blah, blah. The team fell apart.
Right.
So the Broncos, they put in Drew Lock at the end of the year, and people noticed that Drew Lock was playing. He played very well with the limited weapons he had.
Right.
And then the Denver Broncos noticed that, and they go, okay, all right, young buck, here you go. They go into the first round, draft Jerry Jeudy. Second round, KJ Hamler.
Yeah.
They draft a couple of guys for the offensive line, and then in the fourth round, they take Albert, I'm not going to even try and say his last name, tight end, and then Tyne Cleveland in the seventh round. They give him weapons. Here you go, Drew. All these rookies, they're yours now. Go out there and be the Chiefs. Go out there and do whatever you want. Get the ball in these guys' hands, and let's win games. I mean, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I was surprised, but not really surprised at how many offensive players they went in the draft. But they clearly needed it this year. They kind of, I don't know if their tight end from last year was okay. What was it, Noah Fant? He was supposed to be like a first.
He has an injury history as well.
Right, and so it'll be interesting to see how this tight end from Missouri does next year. Maybe with the two of them together. I think the Jerry Jeudy pick out of Alabama was great. I love the KJ Hamler pick out of Penn State. I've watched a lot of his tape, and I think he's going to be really good for just going up and getting the ball, being in the right spots at the right time for Drew Lock. But yeah, I mean, Denver had this many draft picks, and they're like, what can we do to support this young quarterback and get better? And I think they did it.
Yeah, if that was their goal, they 100% accomplished it. That is for sure. And I think they were okay with their defense. I think they were happy with who they had at least. Yeah. The new scheme I think Fangio brought in, if I have the coach's name correct.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they didn't do too well. Mm-hmm. So it's second season with him. Maybe they figure it out. Bradley Chubb's come back. He gets healthy. They're happy with the defense.
Mm.
Again, here we go. Justin Simmons, franchise tag. They both want to get a long-term deal done, but if the safety, Justin Simmons, doesn't want to play on the franchise tag, they can't get a deal done. I mean, I feel like one of your anchors, if you want to talk about I know you have Von Miller for the front seven, but in the secondary, Justin Simmons is a force at safety. Mm-hmm. Probably a top 3 safety in the league right now. They need him to play. And I know they want to get a long-term deal done. It's just going to cost them a pretty penny.
Right. And I mean, that's going to be on John Elway to make sure that they're managing the salary cap correctly and making sure they're going to have that enough for other players they might need or people they need to pay. But I mean, if they have the salary cap and they both know they want a long-term deal, just do it. Just get it over with.
I'm not sure where they stand with their money, but
right.
I would like to see them just do it. Yeah, 100%. They seem like a pretty young team, obviously, based off of their draft class. I mean, half their offense is going to be rookies moving forward.
Yeah, pretty much.
But heading into the season, I don't know. I don't think, obviously, they're not going to win. No one's winning the division, these next 3 teams. So we're talking wild card.
Right.
There's an extra wild card spot.
So, yeah, extra wild card spot. So here's a thought. There's 3 wild card spots now, and we've seen it before where 3 out of 4 teams in a division make the playoffs. Do we see it where an entire division makes a playoff because of the extra wild card spot? Is it?
That would be insane.
Like, is it possible to have like that 4-seed team? They all played really well outside of the division, but then didn't, or against each other. Like, it was kind of 1-1 for the most part. Like, you know how nuts that would be to see entire division in the playoffs?
Are you saying that the AFC West might be that division that could do that? Maybe not this year, maybe next year?
I think they're getting close. I mean, the Broncos they're young, and there are a couple other teams on there that they have a lot of young talent. It's not like they're really falling off. Being in that middle to upper top end of good teams, and I could see the Broncos making a wild card run for the next year or so. I mean, we'll see how the beginning of the season goes and kind of see how this rookie class works on the team. But yeah, it could happen.
Yeah, I think just Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler. What more do you want? I think this is kind of a similar scenario to Josh Allen in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Here's the players, make it work.
Right.
That's kind of what I'm seeing now with Denver. But one team that I'm not seeing a lot of hope for, just me personally, I don't know if it's like I don't hate the Raiders. There it is. I don't hate the Raiders, but it just seems like everything's a mess with them.
Yeah.
They had a decent draft. I think they got kind of who they wanted. Mm-hmm. They were definitely happy with getting Henry Ruggs in the first round at pick 12. They go and get Lynn Bowden Jr. in the third round along with Brian Edwards. If you haven't figured it out yet, it's a repeat thing here. everyone's trying to keep up with the Chiefs. Build your offense, get fast wide receivers, and kind of build that back end as well, because they had 7 picks. 3 of them were wide receivers. 1 was offensive line. And then the other 3, 2 corners and a safety.
Yeah.
You got to slow down the Chiefs and then keep up with them on offense if they do get away.
Right.
And that's what the Raiders did.
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough to compete.
Mm-hmm.
I think because you still have to wonder who's going to be the quarterback. I feel like it's still Derek Carr's team, but is he the quarterback by the end of the season? You don't know.
Yeah, that's going to be tricky. I mean, I don't think he will be. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him this year, with Mariota being there as the backup. Even though I think Mariota is kind of done, but yeah, I don't see it. But I mean, we don't know until the games are played. But
yeah, that's kind of what it's always my motto. Mm-hmm. Is you never want to give it. You don't want to do ultimatums, but
right.
There's a lot of pressure on Derek Carr, and especially with Mariota there, and Mike Mayock being the GM.
Yeah,
Mike Mayock loved Marcus Mariota, and I'm sure that's the reason he's in Oakland right now. That's got to be the only reason he's there, is because of Mayock made that decision. He pulled the trigger on that.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on Gruden as well.
Yeah.
All right, I brought in my guy. Let's see what your guy can do, and if he doesn't do well, guess what? We're putting my guy in. That's the conversation they had.
Yeah. But
so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and the Raiders have some young talent on the team though too from like last year's draft. I just don't think they have all the pieces together yet as a team. Like Josh Jacobs on the offense, like great rookie running back. He showed promise. That defense with Max Crosby for the Raiders looked really good last year. Kind of one of those breakout stars. I feel like they have the pieces, but they're just not quite there yet.
Yeah, I'm going to need to see, especially since they brought in a new safety and 2 corners in the draft. I just need to see it all put together. Right. I'm not a believer right now because they had a little bit of talent last year and they looked good. You know, they had their moments, but they fell apart at a lot of times as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to see more before I give them a positive passing grade on anything. So mm-hmm. I think they'll be fun to watch, but if I had to pick a 4th in the division, it would probably be the Raiders, because the next team up is the Chargers. And the Chargers, let me just say straight up, first and foremost, sneaky top defense in the league is the Chargers. Yeah. Everyone talks about the Bills. Everyone talks about the Patriots. The Chargers, they could easily, if they put it together, if they definitely figure out their pass rush, because their secondary is elite. If their pass rush can be as good as their secondary, scary.
Yeah, definitely.
They were already a good secondary last year, and they almost beat the Chiefs when Phillip Rivers was playing like garbage down in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Or just I always say New Mexico. Why do I say that? I always do that. Just Mexico City. Phil Rivers played like trash, and they still almost won because their defense kept them in it.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
So they go out, they get Kenneth Murray inside linebacker, and they bring in another safety just for shits and giggles. And then they build up, here we go, their offense. They have Justin Herbert. Who knows if he's going to play? He might be. The Chargers are very content, I think, with Tyrod Taylor being their starting quarterback for this season. But hey, if Tyrod struggles, if they are looking at the playoffs maybe, and they think Herbert can get him there, maybe he plays. But I think the expectation is Herbert will sit and Tyrod will try to win with the team given to him.
Right.
And they drafted Joshua Kelly, running back out of UCLA, Joe Reed and KJ Hill, 2 wide receivers. Make that offense better. Yeah. Got to keep up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how long Tyrod plays this year. Like, are we going to see a Cleveland Brown situation when Tyrod went there? And then it was a couple games, and then Baker's in to take over. Like, are Chargers? Is the Chargers going to be enough with Tyrod as being a game manager? At one point, does Anthony Lynn feel the pressure to get the rookie in there if he's like seeing almost enough at practice? When does he make that switch? Not to say Tyrod Taylor is a bad player. I mean, he's just a very consistent game manager for the teams he's played. Like, you get a little flash out of him, but he's very conservative with the ball. Doesn't usually throw too many interceptions. But I mean, who knows what happens when they start practicing and you start getting some tape on Herbert and just seeing how the NFL level is really treating him.
And I think Herbert having to play the Chargers defense in practice is going to give you a pretty good look at who he's going to be.
Right.
If you put him with first team reps and play against that first team defense, that's going to be a really good way for him to grow. I know a lot of people say, it's always good for a rookie quarterback to sit behind a veteran. Yeah, okay. Well, Tyrod's kind of a veteran. I'm sure he could teach him a couple things, but their play styles are pretty different.
Right.
I just think Herbert being able to play against an elite defense in practice and get some tips from corners about what people like elite players do on defense, I think that'll help his development more than I think Tyrod will.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think getting that exposure to NFL elite defenses, I think, is gonna what's really gonna help him be the player he wants to be.
I think the Chargers I think their expectations are high.
Yeah, I think
they want to compete with the Chiefs. I don't know if they're going to be that good. They were able to show they possibly could compete with them last season a couple times, but I think second in division would be expectations maybe met.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, I mean, obviously it's the Chiefs division to take, and I think the Chargers are looking for that second spot. Hopefully it's enough for a wild card. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's going to go, if I had to rank the four, it would be Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders.
And I think a lot of people would agree with you, because I know I will. I definitely don't think the Chargers will be happy with a 5-11 season. We'll put it that way, if they have to go through that again. But the new era is with the Chargers. Rivers is gone. Tyrod and Herbert are in. And that's the AFC West.
Yeah.
It's an exciting division. It's full of young people and hope and promise. But it also has the Chiefs, who look like they might be taking it for a second year in a row. They definitely didn't get worse this offseason. That is for sure.
Definitely.
If anything, they got a touch better.
Yep.
So, just as a reminder, live show on Thursday, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the second half of the show will be the NFL schedule release. So we'll be sure to be talking that. Hopefully they'll release some primetime stuff for us to talk about. It's going to be a fun show. Make sure you tune in. We can talk some more AFC West. Bring your notes. Contact us on social media. And Derf?
All hail the Jockstrap King.